Nigeria prepares for annual feast in honor of the fallen heroes. Focus on security situation, the success and other challenges. We also have health issues regarding COVID-19 pandemic. These and more to reach you on Panorama today. I'm Ian Ray John. Thank you for joining us. With the government's continued commitment to the welfare of the nation's armed forces and other security personnel, Vice President Abuja has called on Nigerians to spare thought and prayer for families of Nigeria's departed heroes, incapacitated compatriots and veterans. The Vice President said this at an interdenominational church service to mark the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. Miriam George Dutubo has the details.
The interdenominational church service was held in honor of officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces who had to pay the ultimate price, others missing in action, while others suffer various degrees of incapacitation and psychological stress, all in the cause of protecting the nation's territorial integrity. Nigeria's vice president, who was represented by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says the fallen heroes deserve support and encouragement.
We pledge in the words of our national anthem that the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. That promise that their blood spilled on the fields of battle will not be wasted is the burden that we and the living bear.
To the widows, widowers, and orphans of the departed heroes, we appreciate your presence. We will stand by you. Ministry of Defense, its management and staff, the Defense Forces will always remember you.
Do more to give a sense of belonging and inclusiveness to all citizens, no matter one's ethnic group.
There were intercessory prayers for the President of Nigeria, security agencies, reposed souls of fallen heroes, veterans and their families, and for the nation. Mariam George, Jitubo, NTA News.
In the meantime, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has commended the Nigerian military for their commitment towards the protection of the country from internal and external threat. This was at the interdenominational church service to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Owerri. Bright Ebuchu reports.
The special church service is held to honor the souls of military personnel who paid the supreme sacrifice in defense of their fatherland. The officiating Reverend Brigadier General Charles Iruebu, in his sermon, admonishes Nigerians to live in peace and harmony, as without it, there can be no meaningful growth and development.
You see that we have about, in the 36 states of the Federation, we have about 32 states where the military is involved in this campaign of peace and against criminality.
Governor Hope Uzodinma, who took the second Bible reading, commended the Nigerian Armed Forces for relentlessly defending the nation, stating that the progress so far recorded in the fight against insurgency in the Northeast is due to their sacrifice. In Owerri, Bright Ebuchu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, security operatives in Katsina State have rescued 37 kidnapped victims, including a bride and her groom. Shehu Adamu reports that the rescued persons are undergoing rehabilitation at the Katsina State NYC orientation camp at the instance of the state government.
Following the successful rescue operations of the abducted 344 students of Government Science Secondary School Kankara, Katsina State Government, in collaboration with security operatives, strengthened strategies in the fight against kidnapping, banditry, and other forms of criminality in the state. The renewed strategies are gradually yielding positive results as more kidnapped victims are being rescued and perpetrators neutralized. The recent of such victims rescued were 37 persons, including the village head of Malamai in Entumaki district of Musa local government area, as well as a bride and her groom who were abducted 2 weeks after their wedding at Bazari local government area of Katsina State. The rescued victims spent 18 days in captivity.
They invaded my house, armed with guns, and started beating me, asking me to wake up and go with them, as it was in the night. They sometimes give us food, once in a day, sometimes twice. As for water, they give it to us a little, not to our satisfaction.
2 males and 6 females alleged to have been involved in child trafficking have been apprehended by officers of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Cross River State. The alleged suspects were reported to be en route Ogun State from Calabar, Cross River State, at the time of their arrest. Cecilia Julius reports that 6 of the alleged child trafficked victims are underage girls from Calabar.
In spite of repeated calls by government and public-spirited organizations for an end to child abuse and trafficking, this heinous crime to humanity is still continuing unabated. In Calabar, luck ran out of these suspected abductors when they were apprehended by officers of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Cross River State Command.
From preliminary debriefing, we've been able to discover that it's a network, it's a ring, and there are other people still at large. So we're on their trail.
Some of the suspected victims claim to have been on their way to Lagos to join their mother, while one of the males, who identified himself as a photographer, was helping the girls to get to a location where the driver will take them to Lagos State.
They met me in my house, my father's house, at Milan.
As I was coming down to the junction, Kwafo Junction, I saw my neighbors here. My neighbor's children standing beside me. So suddenly I saw a cab, a taxi, dropping by. He carried 5 of them. Then the remaining one person, he begged on me that to stand and give him a lift, to give her a lift.
They now tell their mommy that they are traveling back again. I should come and pick them. The senior brother, the man was speaking there. The senior brother said I should come, that he is there with them at Mobi filling station.
The commandant of the NSCDC Calabar, Maje Koduni Abidemi, is calling on parents and caregivers to be security conscious and avoid any form of child trafficking. Mr. Abidemi is also calling for a collective effort from the public to ensure a smooth security operation for all. In Calabar, Cecilia Julius, NTA News.
And still talking security, 2020 was a challenging year for the Nigeria Police Force with the outbreak of coronavirus, increased crimes like rape, banditry, and the NSAS protest that resulted in violence and destruction of lives and property. Security correspondent Francis Form X-rays these and many more.
A typical response of the police for distress call, which came too many in 2020. Despite all these challenges, the police began the year on a high note, penetrating into the hideout of notorious bandits in Bernangwari in Kaduna State, inflicting a serious damage, reclaiming many public space from criminal elements.
We were able to dislodge the place, destroy the camp, and keep many of them because we have the right equipment that we needed to confront them.
The much-awaited trust fund to bridge funding gap in the force finally came into reality, with President Muhammadu Buhari establishing it to assist in meeting the operational requirements and logistics need of the force. of recruiting 10,000 police personnel annually to meet the manpower needed by the force to curtail insecurity across the country began in the year under review. The Police Act was amended and signed into law, giving rise to the creation of an additional department, 5 zonal commands, and autonomy of the Force Intelligence Bureau. The COVID-19 pandemic necessitated police response to public health emergencies, just as it has been involved in the enforcement efforts to control the disease, promote safer communities, and fight criminals who see the outbreak as an opportunity to carry out their activities.
I'm happy to say that the police have given in their best in spite of all the challenges last year, and we do hope that Nigerians will continue to support the police.
Cases of rape and other violence against women rose sharply in the year under review, prompting a meeting between the police and other critical stakeholders to wage war against the menace.
We need to re-strategize in order to see that we don't give gap to the offenders.
Community policing was adopted by the federal government as a community-based internal security management to complement the Nigeria police in all components so as to allow the communities some levels of participation in securing themselves.
These criminals are within the communities in which these atrocities are committed, and without the understanding, support, and cooperations of these communities, there is no way we can fight the dreaded criminals.
The NSAS protests and the establishment of SWAT will be brought to you in part 2 of the report. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
A magistrate sitting in Abuja has granted bail to the convener of Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, in the sum of 20 million naira, with 2 sureties in like sum. The court has also ordered Sowore to remain in Abuja and physically report to the court registrar every Monday and Friday, pending determination of the case against him. The 4 other defendants in the case were also admitted to 1 million naira bail each and 1 surety, while the matter has been adjourned to February 5th for trial. The 5 defendants are standing trial for alleged conspiracy, unlawful assembly, and incitement of the public. This is Panorama, live on the network service of the NTA. Time for a break. Do stay. Now talking about the pandemic. Nigeria has now crossed 100,000 mark of total confirmed cases of coronavirus 11 months into the pandemic. In the last few hours, 1,024 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says the new infections were reported in 16 states and the FCT, with Lagos reporting 653 cases, Plateau 63, Benue 48, Zamfara 45, FCT 42, Rivers 27, Ondo 26, and Adamawa 26. Kaduna recorded 22 new infections, Edo 18, Ogun 16, Imo 12, Kano 9, Yobe 6, Ekiti 5, Jigawa 4, and Osun 2 new cases. Nigeria has so far tested 1,025,560 samples, and active cases nationwide have increased to 18,699. Total discharged cases are 80,030, while the death toll is now 1,358. The federal government has assured Nigerians that COVID-19 vaccines that will be brought into the country are safe and effective and will be administered to Nigerians free. The Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faiza Shuaib, who said this in Abuja, observed that about 70% of Nigerians are being prioritized for the vaccination in 2021 and 2022 to reduce mortality and interrupt COVID-19 transmission in the country. Basi Ita Ekbank reports.
Since the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country in February 2020, the federal government has initiated several strategies to stop the spread of the virus and keep Nigerians safe. But the second wave of the virus is spreading too fast, with an increase in the number of confirmed cases across the country on a daily basis. To further ensure safety of Nigerians from this pandemic is the need to introduce COVID-19 vaccines in the country, just as it is done in other countries.
We have the responsibility to actually convey the right information and create awareness around the vaccines, around COVID-19.
The federal government, mindful of myths and misconceptions surrounding COVID-19 vaccines, set up a technical committee of experts from the health sector to study and scrutinize the type of vaccine that is safe for Nigerians.
A lot of work is going on to ensure that this happens, that the vaccines that will come in would be safe and effective.
In a virtual meeting with journalists in Abuja, the committee said the federal government has put everything in place to ensure the vaccines are properly preserved within the required temperature and will be monitored and guarded for accountability. The vaccine, which will be administered in 4 phases based on vaccine type and availability, will give priority to frontline workers across the 36 states and the FCT based on WHO guidelines. Once the first 100,000 doses of vaccine expected to arrive in the country this January are received. Basi Taikbang, NTA News.
The World Health Organization says no fewer than 42 countries already rolling out the various COVID-19 vaccines which have been cleared for use. 36 are in high-income nations. WHO's Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus made this known during the COVID-19 news conference at WHO headquarters in Geneva. In a series of tweets posted on the UN Health Agency Twitter account at WHO, Ghebreyesus emphasized equitable distribution of the vaccines. He said there is a clear problem that low and most middle-income countries are not receiving the vaccine yet. We can and must solve this problem together through COVAX and the ACT Accelerator. Now, I have joining me via telephone Dr. Roland Agbovu. He's a resident anesthetist, and we'll be discussing about COVID-19 and, of course, the vaccine. All right, thank you for joining us, Doctor. Can you hear me? Dr. Roland Agbovu, can you hear me? All right, thank you for joining us. Okay, it looks like we have signal issues, and we hope we can rectify that. Now, in other news, the National Population Commission has been charged to ensure proper execution of Phase 11 enumeration area demarcation for credible census. Speaking at the NPC Phase 11 enumeration area demarcation camp in Abak local government, Akwa Ibom State, Deputy Governor Moses Epo maintained that only credible census can guarantee effective national planning in the country. Charity James brings us details.
In view of the importance of enumeration area demarcation to a successful national census, proper and effective enumeration area demarcation becomes imperative. Hence, the ongoing NPC Phase 11 enumeration area demarcation exercise in some areas in the state. The State Deputy Governor Moses Ekpo described census figure as key to national planning and development. The Deputy Governor advised NPC officials to guard against issues that will attract foreigners to estimate the population of Nigeria, as successful enumeration area demarcation depends on their commitment to the exercise.
The success, the credibility of any census for any country largely depends on the pains taken to ensure that the EAD is absolutely correct and right.
The Phase 11 enumeration area demarcation exercise is taking place at Abak, Etimekpo, and Ika local government areas of the state. In Uyo, Charity James.
And back in Abuja, goods and property worth billions of naira were consumed by fire Sunday morning at the popular Kugbo Furniture Market along Yanya Abuja Road. Abdullahi Ajia reports that the combined efforts of firefighters spent several hours to contain the devastating fire.
Kugbo remains one of the popular furniture markets in the nation's capital, Abuja, flourishing in this business for many decades. Sunday morning fire at the market, whose cause is yet to be ascertained, is one unfortunate disaster that has left deep traders and businessmen in shock as they are still counting their losses with nothing to salvage.
I saw one man, he wanted to jump into the fire. I didn't know what to do. Many of them, their money is gone. Their source of livelihood is gone. The fire was too much.
One of my warehouses, we offloaded, is not quite long. We offloaded 40 feet worth of more than 40-something million. Everything burned down.
Industrial machines, all my small machines, all the goods I bought that I will use for this January, all of them got burnt.
Inflammables and combustibles at the market were said to have aggravated the fire that took combined firefighters from NEMA, FEMA, Fire Service, the military, among others, and the market guards several hours to put off.
We started using chemical foam so that we can blanket the fire. And that is the chemical foam we use that make this fire to be up to this very level. But you see, there is a pocket of fire. They are still fighting. Our men are still fighting over there.
Fire service, well, they try. Almost 5 or 6 of them we are here. Both 6 of the truck we are here.
The traders are appealing to governments and corporate organizations to come to their rescue, considering the enormity of the disaster. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Let's now have a bit of sports.